Hey, YouTube. Welcome to lucky number 41. 41 happens to be the number that I wear when I play hockey. So I'm very excited to bring you part 41 of Horizon Forbidden West with a Therapist. I appreciate that all of you are willing to give a thumbs up to the stream, subscribe to the channel, leave comments, and all that fun stuff. It brings me great joy whenever Sean uploads a new video to open my inbox or my YouTube dashboard and see a bunch of new comments to read. I do read all of them. I don't respond to all of them, but I do read all of them, and I enjoy very much reading them. So thank you for sharing your opinions and your reactions and all that stuff. Those of you that financially support the stream, thanks so much for doing that as well. It really does make a huge difference, and I am grateful to you for your generosity. We got some big stuff coming today, so let's see how it goes.
Hey, we'll be going after Hephaestus soon. You good with the plan?
I've already got the location of my assigned cauldron.
Good.
I heard you and Beta had a talk.
News travels fast.
It wasn't exactly a quiet conversation.
There were just things that needed to be said.
A healthy crop to those who clear the weeds between them, as the Utaru say.
You look like you have something on your mind.
We're going to war soon. And war is something I promised myself I'd left behind in the Red Raids. But the more of your data I go through, every voice I hear, every word I read from her ancient past, it makes me realize just how much life was given so that ours could flourish. Fighting for that gift, it's our responsibility. If we fail, it was all for naught.
Helps to know you're not alone.
For a moment there, you sounded like Varl.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
I should go.
As soon as you intend to leave for Gemini,
You'll hear about it.
Alrighty, Zo. It's cool. I mean, it really shows the extent to which we, have rallied people around the idea, and everybody's cost sunk in this. But this is going to stir up shit for people, because it's going to lead to them doing stuff that they, like Zo, didn't think that they would ever engage in. But I appreciate their willingness to kind of acknowledge our current context and the need for
Aloy,
action.
everything okay with you and Beta? It sounded like you guys had a, lively conversation.
We just had a lot to talk about.
Does this mean she's coming with us to Gemini?
It does. I hope you're ready to rein in the most stubborn AI of all time.
That's what all this was for, wasn't it?
Hephaestus won't go down quietly.
Hephaestus is just a program that's lost its way. We are fighting for our survival. I can always call upon the goddess if you're nervous.
Funny.
Oh. I might be misinterpreting this, but my sense of that is that, well, we kind of talked about this in Zero Dawn. So when humans don't have access to to information that's been developed through observation and tested via science, and having a collective knowledge base of diverse perspectives and things from people in history, they have a tendency to go in the direction of the spiritual as a means to understand their existence. It's a totally understandable thing. So the Nora praise the higher power of the goddess. There can be a tendency, it's not always the case, but there is a tendency that when people get more information, when they become more well-read, when they engage more with science of the observable world, when they hear different perspectives and see different orientations and different how different people and different groups can interpret the same thing in different ways, kind of like Varl getting access to all this information via the focus, which has totally shaken his world, and they get outside of their homogenous areas, there is a tendency for people to start to question and then even potentially start denying some of the spiritual drivers that they use to understand their existence. Varl making that joke there, I think, is a recognition of that. Of these are all things that I used to assume were the work of a goddess. These are things I used to pray about. These were things I thought were connected to some sort of higher power. And I'm starting to realize that that maybe isn't the case. It's not that it isn't the case. I mean, again, the goddess could exist, but as the more information we get, the more we realize that that's a sliver of a possible explanation of what's going on. And Varl is showing a degree of intellectual development around this to now say, jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, I could bring the goddess in if you want. When they're like, well, maybe it's not that. Maybe there's a lot more to this than just what our spirituality tells us. And that is not always easy for people to engage with, by the way. That can really shake the foundation of what people think existence is. Some people get very scared by that and will further clutch onto the spiritual nature of what it was that they were engaged with, rather than lean into the dissonance that comes up as the result of getting that information. And I'm not anti-religion. I'm not anti-spirituality or anything like that. You can be educated and spiritual at the same time. But what does tend to happen when people diversify their understanding of the world and get out of homogenous bubbles is that they will start to challenge stuff like that. And a lot of, in real life, a lot of organized religions have controls in place to try to prevent that from happening for people. Whereas, in this case, that's not necessarily the case. But it's just interesting to see Varl's development in that way, to the point that he would make a joke about it now instead of talking about it seriously as he did a couple years ago, a couple months ago, whatever it is.
Any last findings you want to share before leaving?
Not really. Though I've reached a decision.
Oh?
When we put Gaia together, I want to return to the Nora. Spread what I've learned.
You think they'll listen to you?
In time, I believe so.
Nice.
If anyone can make it happen, it's you, Varl.
That's cool, man. Get after it.
What will you and Zoe do if you go back to the Embrace?
I hope she'll come with me. At least for a while. And I'll go with her to Plainsong too. She'll probably want to talk to her people about all this as well. We'll figure it out.
I know you will. I hope firing off those pulse generators will be enough to distract the Zeniths.
It'll work. It has to.
You notice a little something with Aloy when she talks to Varl? She changes a little bit. It's kind of subtle. But Varl's presence, being as calm and stabilizing as it is, and in a lot of ways confident in appearance, it disarms Aloy a bit. She gets a little bit closer to her anxiety. Because with everybody else, Aloy essentially says, overriding those pulse generators will work. With Varl, she says, I hope it will work. And that is it's a very small linguistic difference, but it gives us a little window into where Aloy's actually at with this. There is doubt there. Which is why, again, I think she's so reactive to Beta, because Beta essentially pulls that to the surface, not in a way that feels comfortable for her. Varl, being as calm and present as he is, makes it a bit easier for her to access that in a non-threatening way. But there's been a couple times where Aloy has done that, where when she talks to Varl, she loosens up just enough that we get a little bit of a window into her doubt around this. And I believe that it's healthy for her to have that. I think it's totally okay for her to have a little bit of doubt about whether it'll work, because it's realistic. We don't know that it's going to work. We can run probabilities and shit all day, but we don't know that it's going to work the way that we think it is. I just think it's really cool. Like, if you observe humans interacting, you can sometimes see differences in people based on who they engage with and how. If you look for differences in language, if you look for differences in the process of how people engage, You can see that different people bring out different parts of folks. And Aloy feels some degree of comfort with Varl to a point that I don't think she's consciously doing this, but she very much engaged with a bit of doubt there instead of absolute certainty that she tends to carry into a lot of the other contexts, particularly around people that she perceives as being not confident. So when Aloy is presented with somebody who does carry themselves confidently and doesn't exude anxiety like somebody like Beta does, she's able to access a bit more of her own anxiety. It's very cool. I like how subtle that was, but I wanted to make sure I pointed it out because these things happen. As a therapist, these are the types of things I'm looking for. I tell every client in my first session with them that when they ask like about my approach, I usually say one of the things I look for are incongruities. Like I look for disruptions in patterns. That engagement with Varl was a disruption in a pattern that Aloy tends to have when she talks about her mission and what she's trying to accomplish. And you get a lot of information from that. So what is it about Varl? I think he just carries himself with presence and calm and confidence and validation, and he listens. He asks questions. He doesn't just talk. And when people are willing to listen and be present, you will often notice that people open up.
Always optimistic, huh?
Nah, just stubborn. It's a good quality to have when dealing with you.
Yeah, right.
The writing on that is just impeccable. So good.
How does everyone seem to you?
Anxious, but ready. I heard Kotallo ask for Alva's help with his pulse generator. And I know he's been helping her with a few fighting techniques, just in case.
I hope they aren't needed.
Like I said, just in case.
You were right, you know, about keeping Rost's memories buried. I guess part of me thought he was holding me back, because he wanted me to be a Nora. But the truth is, he gave me a lot. And I took him for granted.
Of course you did. He was your parental figure. We all do this. All take our caregiving for granted, particularly if it's good when we're kids. It's not your kid's responsibility to acknowledge that. Something that I share with parents all the time is that if you do a really good job as a parent and you provide everything you're supposed to provide, your kids will take it for granted. They're not really going to acknowledge it. Maybe they will. But when they're 25 years old and they're adults, they will likely come back to you and they'll say thank you. And that will be the greatest thank you that you ever receive in your entire life, because your adult child will have now recognized all the things you provided for them. So you just keep chucking eggs into that basket, or chucking seeds, and they're going to bring you a big-ass bouquet when they get old enough. The problem is Rost is dead, so Aloy's not able to say this to him directly, but being hard on herself for the fact that she took good caregiving for granted is not fair, because that's developmentally to be expected. And a lot of us get kind of wrapped up in this. Like, I should have been more grateful about stuff like this. Like, no, you could have been, but you weren't, because you were a kid and you were a teenager and you were driven and you were egocentric and you cared about yourself. And that's what happens developmentally. And so now you're at a point where you can appreciate what he provided to you. And part of your grief is going to be recognizing that you can't say that to him, which is a real bummer. But you don't want to be hard on yourself for that kind of thing.
He was a good man. He raised you well.
Love it.
I'm glad you're coming with me, Varl.
Sure there's no urge to run off alone in there somewhere?
No more running.
And that's the thing too, is Varl's willing to be real in that way. Like, he'll make that little jab, but it's in good faith. Like, I love that. Sure, there's not some desire to go run off alone, and he says it like with, man, his character development's great too. I love it. All right, Aaron, what do you got?
Hey, I thought I'd check in before leaving for Gemini.
Are you sure we shouldn't be checking up on you? Whatever went on between you and Beta sounded intense. Not that I'm judging. Forge knows all the screws flew loose every time Mercer and I fought.
I think we'll be fine from now on.
I'm glad to hear it.
Spartan, thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that very much.
After we get Hephaestus, we'll be taking the fight to the Zeniths. So, no more reading.
It wasn't that bad. Not really. Besides, going through all that data helped me realize something. You know, the soldiers, the ones that fought the Pharaoh machines so Gaia could be built, they were fighting a battle that couldn't be won. Not with all the weapons in the world. I think most of them realized that, whether anyone said it or not. They still did it, though. They bought time for all the eggheads working to save the future. Our future. As long as I can do that for you, I'll consider myself a success.
Thank you, Erend. I'm glad you're with me.
God damn.
Okay, enough. I'm gonna get emotional.
Wow. Also, I got to give credit where credit's due for Aloy here. Aloy appreciating the presence of the people around her in her party is a big deal. Because she never really used to do that. So for Aloy to say, I'm glad you're with me, is her recognition that she's no longer in this alone and that their presence matters. And that's a big time reinforcement mechanism for all the people in the group. That's a big deal coming from Aloy. So, man, we're seeing good stuff all the way around.
Anybody take you up on that ale you brought yet?
Zoe can't stand the smell of it. I tried Alva, but I don't think she knows what taking a break means. And I'm not putting Varl anywhere near that stuff after that victory party in Meridian.
What about Kotallo?
Now there's a man that can hold his liquor. Pretty sure we downed half a keg. We had a good chat, I think.
I should go.
Same here. I got a date with a cauldron to prepare for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aloy, are you well?
Had a bit of an issue with Beta. It's better now, though.
Ah, I'm not surprised.
Really? Why not?
I once knew a warrior who discovered he had a brother late in life. It was deeply uncomfortable for him.
Did he ever get over it?
In time. But not before the two siblings nearly killed each other in a single combat challenge.
Ah. Well, at least I avoided that. Think you're ready to put all your training to the test?
I am Tenakth. I am always ready.
Yeah. Don't question
You
Aloy.
nervous about the mission ahead?
If I live, it will be in victory. If I die, it will be in battle. What matters most is that you achieve your objective.
I'll do my best.
DrMick overreads the situation incoming, but it feels worth noting. Aloy accesses her emotion and doubt and anxiety when she is around people who she perceives to be more confident and steadfast, which is part of the whole splitting thing that I've talked about a couple times in these playthroughs, so I'm not going to go through splitting again. But when Aloy asks Kotallo, are you nervous? I think that's a recognition that part of her is nervous, and she wants to hear if a person that she maybe perceives as being even more confident than her is nervous. It validates her own nervousness. That's a very long way of getting to a point that you could get to a lot sooner, which would be for her to say, you know, Kotallo, I'm pretty nervous about this. How are you feeling? It's a much more rich way of approaching that conversation. And I know there's going to be somebody that hears me say that and goes, well, I don't want to burden somebody with that. I don't want to burden somebody by saying that I'm nervous out of nowhere. It's intimacy. That's sharing your experience with people. That's how you build relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. But yes, teenagers do this all the time. It's developmentally a way for them to, if somebody says to you directly, like, are you sad about that? There's a chance that they're trying to validate or connect with their own sadness. So if you answer and say, yeah, but like, how are you doing? Cool. But again, if you know that you're asking that question because you want validation or acknowledgement of your own experience, just share your experience and then ask that person how they're doing. And it's not a comparison. It's not a competition. If Aloy's nervous and Kotallo isn't, cool. Maybe we can talk about what Kotallo's doing cognitively to stave that off. There's always a statement behind a question. And in this case with Aloy, I think her statement was, I'm pretty nervous. Are you nervous too? Say hi to YouTube. Hi YouTube. Hi, Dr. Jiro. Dr. Jiro. Kitty. Kitty PhD. You gonna cuddle with me while we play? Okay. You know, people seem to like you in the YouTube comments. People say stuff about you in there. They say I get in the way of the kitty stream.
I should go get ready.
I await your orders.
Okay. So here's my dilemma here. Alva and Kotallo. I want to get Kotallo his arm, and I want to do Alva's thing before we do that. So, let's go get Kotallo's arm. Do Alva's thing, and then we'll do the cauldron. What do you think, kitty man? What do you think, kitty man? You don't care as long as you're warm and cuddly. You don't care what we do. That's okay. That's the whole point of being a kitty. You don't have to care about nothing. You just try to be warm and well rested and pretty great, man.
Can't let the cold distract me. Pretty sure this is where Kotallo wanted us to test his new arm. Not sure what he has in mind, though.
Going
should
fishing.
contact him. Let him know I'm here. Hey, Kotallo. I'm by the tremor test site, where we agreed to meet. Want to test that new arm of yours?
I'll be there shortly.
Oh,
Thank you for waiting.
Maybe now you can tell me what we're doing here?
Not just yet. Follow me, please.
Ooh. Intrigue.
Someone's being awfully mysterious.
You took your sweet time telling me what you wanted to do to the bulwark. Consider this my revenge.
Fair enough.
I love it. Oh, it's so good.
This is it.
What am I looking at?
Oh, you'll see. Come.
All right, talk to me, Kotallo.
I wish to test the arm on that. It has menaced the valley for some time. Killed more than a few of the Sky Clan. But no longer.
I'm honored to help.
Yeah, buddy. Look at that. Hell yeah. Oh, it's so badass. Dude.
After you.
Kotallo, chop my arm off and give me one of those, bud.
Let's see how this thing likes the taste of metal.
Bring it on!
Careful!
No one is climbing that mountain. feels pretty good.
Oh! Dude, the range on this thing is insane.
Well, I think it's safe to say the new arm works fine.
Agreed.
What a badass dude.
Then why are you taking it off?
This is what I am now. What I overcame. Anything else feels... wrong. Like a disguise. I'll use the new arm when I need it, but the rest of the time, I will simply be myself.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
You have my thanks for doing this with me. Here. Something to mark our victory.
The only person who gets to decide whether that's the right move is Kotallo. So, I love that insofar as that is Kotallo's authentic experience. If Kotallo said, man, when I put this arm on, I feel like me again, and I'm gonna rock this thing until the day I die, I would be just as excited for him as I am for the fact that he said, I want to be me without the prosthetic. He is the person that gets to decide that. Nobody else. Not a single other person in this planet gets to tell Kotallo whether he is him with or without the prosthetic. He gets to determine that for his subjective experience. I think that is so cool. Not that he made the decision not to use the prosthetic. I think it's really cool that he used the prosthetic and then asked himself the question, which one feels right for me? What feels authentic to my experience and what I want for myself? And he engaged with that and made a decision based on that. That's the part of this that I appreciate. What a badass moment to be able to be with him in. For him to acknowledge that and see that and say, yeah, I'll use it when I need it, but this feels more like me. This feels like a representation of all the shit that I've been through. And that's what I want to operate in the world with. Good for him. That's good shit. Really good shit.
Thank you. I'll see you later then.
The 10 be with you, Aloy.
Hell yeah. He's a badass, man. Love him. Oh, baby. That was cool. It was very satisfying. All right, Alva. Where's your thing at? Oh, at Legacy's landfall, huh? Oh, you twitching, Mr. Kitty Man? Yeah. Yeah. You the best. Yes, you're the best.
Please, could you spare a moment?
What's up, Jomar?
Ancestor, please. It's about my brother. I don't mean to disturb you, but I've run my requests through every channel and I've gotten nowhere.
Just take me through it.
Apologies. My name is Jomar. I'm the weapons officer for this expedition. It's my job to ensure the troops are armed and prepared for what's out there. And I've failed to do so. My younger brother, Oris, his unit was sent to scout the tower on the northern side of the island. They should have returned by now. The Overseer has denied my request for a search party, and defying him would mean dismissal. Or worse.
You think they might be alive?
Oris has been obsessed with San Francisco ever since I can remember. He jumped at the chance to join this expedition. I have to believe that fate isn't cruel enough to make this place his tomb. If you help me, I'll get you access to any weapon in my stock.
If I make my way up north, I'll look for your brother.
Thank you. If it helps, my brother carried an ancestral relic with him. I believe your focus might be able to pick it up.
What kind of relic?
A small metal piece dangling from a chain, with a hologram of San Francisco. Which is why my brother always had it with him. The diviners speculated it was some kind of beacon, inviting the ancestors to visit the city.
Speculated. So there was data on it they couldn't read.
It was deemed lost knowledge. If my brother truly is gone, could you maybe bring the relic back for me? It meant so much to Oris. I'd like to keep it safe. For him.
Of course.
I just want to take a second to appreciate that it feels like there are so few recycled facial assets in this game. Like, every person we come across has a unique face and voice. Is unreal.
I promise you, we'll find a way home.
Harriam, we're never getting that gyro compass back. We're stuck here. For good.
The ancestor reborn.
May we be led to truth.
Just, Aloy, what's this I hear about you never going back home?
Our navigational ships.
They're all gone. Destroyed by storms and reefs, and with them the one instrument we need to guide us across the ocean.
There is one ship that might still hold a working gyro compass.
But it's beyond our reach, beached on an island surrounded by deadly currents. No compass, no way home, no way back to those we should have never left behind in the first place.
Christia.
You mentioned you left someone behind?
My wife, Leandra. She works the field in the Great Delta. When I was chosen for this mission, she begged me not to come. She was scared I wouldn't return. And like always, she was right. I left without saying goodbye, and now I won't ever see her again.
Damn.
So you two are soldiers?
Navigators, actually. I'm Harriam, and this is Christia.
So you two know how to use this instrument?
The gyro compass. Only I know how to read it. The diviners trained me. Harriam was chosen to memorize the charts found in the legacy.
So you can't navigate the fleet without each other?
That is a massive oversight, man. The Quen isolating certain tasks to very specific people makes things so risky. Like, if one of these people falls off the boat for some stupid ass reason and gets caught in the ocean, now what? The fate of everybody is totally screwed because you can't navigate the ocean because you've isolated that particular skill to one specific person who needs one other specific person around in order to do their job. That is just such a bad decision. You gotta have backups. You gotta diversify people's skill sets so that you don't screw the entire group if something stupid happens. One of them gets the flu and dies. Now what? Oops. Can't go to San Francisco. What are we doing, Quen?
It is the Quen way.
Yeah.
The greater the knowledge held by one person alone, the greater the risk it'll be used against the Empire should we be captured by our enemies.
That's the propaganda that you've been sold by the Empire. Oh, ye stormtroopers. That's self-serving. Again, if you diversify people's knowledge set, you make them more dangerous in the grand scheme of things. Like, yes, is it great to have people who are masters of certain crafts? For sure. And then they can teach it to other people who can learn from that. You make people useful in multiple ways. All of a sudden, they're not isolated to one's very specific task, and therefore their utility extends beyond their usefulness to the Empire, which means they may be likely to push back against it. It's amazing the way that people in positions of power will craft certain narratives to get people to believe certain things about themselves and about the world around them instead of critically thinking about the way that it's self-serving for that narrative to exist in the first place. The more we learn about the Quen, the more sad I am for these people that they're stuck in this kind of societal structure.
Your tribe sure is cautious.
That's one word for it, Aloy.
So what is this gyro compass you're looking for?
It's a device used by the ancestors to help pinpoint a ship's location, but it only works if the readings are compared to a chart.
How'd you get your hands on something like that?
I guess it's safe to tell you since you carry the gift of the ancestors. The diviners found them on ancient vessels back in our homeland and modified them so we could use them on our ships. Without them, we're at the mercy of the seas.
It doesn't sound fun.
You said what you need is on a ship somewhere.
Yes. The ship we were stationed on. The night we approached landfall, a sudden squall hit the fleet. While some ships managed to find safe harbor here, ours ran aground. The crew abandoned ship, hoping the ocean would spare us.
I thought we'd drown for sure. Thank the ancestors, we somehow got washed up on a beach southwest of here. Scouts found us and brought us to landfall. Not that it matters. The only ship with the gyro compass is grounded and surrounded by deadly currents.
Of course. And so, because we needed to make a video game mission out of it, that's the case.
Maybe I can help.
Not unless you can fly.
Well,
I can't do that. But if I find a way, I'll come back.
She's an ancestor reborn. Maybe she really can help.
I will not let myself hope just yet, but I thank you for your kindness.
nice. Love that realistic approach to the world.
It's finally changed.
I ain't gonna just blindly hope. Good for you.
Don't think I can get to that ship. At least, not now.
Perhaps after I do the cauldron. So that's on hold. On hold. Until the Wings of the Ten has been complete. Oh, interesting. Okay. So we can't do those yet.
Hey, Alva? I'm in landfall. Can you meet me here?
I'll be there as soon as I can. Aloy! I'm here. Had to sneak past a few machines on the way, but I made it.
All right. Ready to talk to that diviner?
Yes. He's right over there.
Diviner Alva, what are you doing back in landfall? And with the living ancestor?
We're looking for the At-Bay Research Center, where Leviathan was developed. The legacy tells us it's somewhere in the city.
Alva mentioned you've been collecting data in the area. Do you know where it is?
Yes, I stumbled across it, but there was no data there, only crumbling ruins.
Tell us anyway. We might be able to find something you missed.
Please, don't trouble yourself. I assure you, our search was very thorough.
Uh-huh.
You're hiding something.
What? That is absurd. A diviner must only speak truth, as you're well aware.
Oh, you're worried you found something dangerous.
Nice,
Something
Alva.
compromising on Eileen Sasaki?
Keep your voice down.
Look, I get it, Nirik. You want to make it back to your family, so it's safer to turn a blind eye. But think of Leviathan. How it could help everyone. Isn't that why we're here? Don't let fear deny us that.
Very well. The facility's just south of here, along the shore. But even if you find a way to fix Leviathan, it's sure to be shrouded in that which is forbidden.
Too often the truth is forbidden.
Man, look at our girl growing up.
Come on, let's go.
Alva gets it, man. Following you. See what happens when you break out of your bubble and you start to learn things that extend beyond what you've been told by your homogenous little group? You start to gain a critical eye of things. Love that for Alva.
You all right?
Not bad with that diviner back there. You've come a long way since we first met.
And Nirik's like I used to be, terrified of a misstep. And with the overseers, he has every right to be. But what I've seen and learned since the greenhouse, it's so much more than what we're permitted. Diviners are supposed to seek the truth, and yet so much is kept from us. I'm tired of it.
Good for you.
That should be the facility ahead. Oh, we need to find a way in.
Up here. Well, Nirik wasn't lying about crumbling ruins, at least. Let's look around.
Aloy, why is the ground shaking?
Another Leopleurodon?
That's not good, whatever it is.
Or a rock breaker?
Whoa, that thing is huge!
Oh, it's a snake. Okay,
We'll
well.
have to take it out if we want to find that data.
Okay.
Like now, Alva.
Saw its weak spot! No! For my challenge?
Oh boy. Get out of the water, Aloy. We're getting into shallow water. Oh! There we go.
Down it goes!
Whew. Well, I'm gonna have nightmares tonight.
We should be able to look around for that data now.
Oof. Those things are very cool.
Through here.
After you.
Time for a swim.
At least the water's not freezing. Look at this place. I always try to imagine what it must have been like back when the old ones were here.
It's less of a climb, I bet. Come on, let's check the upper floors.
Oh god. Come on.
You okay?
On every expedition, the soldiers would lay down walkways and barriers first to protect us diviners.
There. A console.
Must have been what Nirik found.
Let's see if it has anything on Leviathan. Oh, the data on Leviathan isn't here. But there's some kind of log.
Delete the database? But Miss Sasaki, when you look at the reports, 3,000 exhibiting symptoms. Over 400 dead. The data's clear. Omarama is contaminating the water supply, promoting bacterial growth. And with Leviathan based on the same architecture...
You're a smart kid. Top of your class, right? My father built this company thanks to world-class talent like you. And you know what else is world-class? Our legal team.
Boom.
So unless you want to spend the rest of your career in some dead-end, underfunded public research institute, you'll delete that database and forward all data on Leviathan to my office.
Yes, ma'am.
That was her. The ancestor, Eileen Sasaki. Hundreds dead. And she knew their system was to blame, but she had the truth erased. Were all the ancestors like this? Selfish, ruthless, immoral? And yet we hold them up as paragons of enlightenment and virtue. Given what we've learned, I don't even know if Leviathan will work.
Hold on. Let's not give up just yet. You said before that the old ones use Leviathan to control flooding. Which means it probably worked. We'll know more when we find the data on it. The recording mentioned a copy was sent to Eileen's office.
To their corporate headquarters. There. Let's go. It shouldn't take us long to get to the tower.
Lead on.
Okie dokie.
So what was that other system the recording mentioned? Omu Ramba?
The legacy tells us it was the predecessor to Leviathan, a system that manipulated floods to bring life to a barren desert.
Quen seemed to know a lot about this ancestor.
Diviners spent years trying to figure out how to restore Leviathan. We found a lot of data on Eileen Sasaki in the process. Though, now I wonder how much of it is actually true.
Alva is legitimately one of the best representations of accommodation that we have come across in any game. And I admire her for it. Alva came to the United States in a system that facilitated her having a very rigid view of all the things that she'd been exposed to. And since she's gotten here, and particularly since she's met Aloy, all of those expectations and schema have been just blown to bits. And instead of her doubling down on the Quen have to be right about everything, so all of this is bullshit, or this is doctored footage, or whatever, she has instead chosen to challenge her expectations themselves. So that now when she is speculating about Sasaki, her first thought is, perhaps what we know about that isn't true. Perhaps there's more than meets the eye. Like, she has very much leaned into the idea that maybe she doesn't know everything there is to know about the people that she's been studying. And she is so much better off for it, because it means that she's going to intercept a whole bunch of new news in a way that is far more realistic and healthy. It's awesome. It's easier to assimilate. It's easier for her to say, well, this must be corrupted bullshit data. This must be propaganda from people who didn't like Sasaki or whatever. But no, she takes it and files it away and says, well, this is a thing that I'm going to put into the drawer of what I understand about this person, and I'm going to be willing to challenge that rather than just assume that what I thought ahead of time was the right thing and then bias everything else in that. We could all learn a lot from her. It's really great.
Entrance is blocked. Gonna have to find another way in.
Gosh.
The soldiers built a path on the nearby ruin. Might be able to cross over from there.
It's almost like every time we come up to something, we have to find an alternative way in. Gaming cliches 101. gonna be really funny to me if Alva's just as adept of a climber as Aloy is. Oh boy. Yep. Oh, come on. I got that drone already.
I think this is as far as our soldiers got.
We'll have to climb higher to get into the tower.
I'll follow your lead.
Whole skyscraper comes down. It was a load-bearing truss.
Up we go.
No. Oh my god. Alva, please move. No! Aloy, stop going that way. I don't want to go that way. I want to go up to the left, please. Up. No! Oh my god. Up. Left. Thank you. That's why I say this is my least favorite part of these games.
You doing okay, Alva?
Yes. Don't worry about me.
Okay.
How are we going to get across?
Oh, that beam looks promising.
With this lucky beam that's got a thing I can grapple on.
This is a lot higher up than I thought.
Feel free to stay down there if you need to.
Glinthawks. Well, we have the element of surprise.
Or we could sneak by and, you know, not fall off the tower. We have to fight! They haven't seen us.
There. No more Glinthawks.
I've heard our soldiers say the Glinthawks are the worst.
No, something tells me that's
this
Gorilla
way.
being a little tongue-in-cheek there. That's awesome. Everybody hates Glinthawks.
Aloy? We're really high off the ground.
You can do it, Alva, okay? Just don't look down.
Right! Of course. Super easy.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know how often people in this world actually find themselves this high up. It would make sense why she'd be
There's the
super
tower.
nervous here.
Should be able to cross over.
That doesn't sound good.
But we are going to have to flip.
Oh boy.
After you.
Gotta clear some of that debris
Oh
first.
boy. Whoa!
Should be able to make it to the other side. Made it. Okay, Alva, your turn.
Right. Yeah. Aloy, can you watch me and make sure I do this right?
I can, but if you do it wrong, I'll give your eulogy. I don't know that me watching you here is going to make a difference, but if it makes you feel more comfy, cool.
Come on, Alva, you can do it. It's okay.
Please don't break.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Alva!
I'm okay. Wow. That That would have been a long way to fall.
Good for her, man. Way to...
You sure you're okay?
Yeah. No, I'm fine. Let's keep going.
Way to face your fears, Alva.
Oh, the door's locked. I think it needs a passcode.
Mr. Hale, IT Security would like to emphasize again that entering your private passcode in the passcode reminder field does not meet digital security standards. As such, your passcode has been reset. Again, please choose an appropriate reminder in the future.
Let's look around. Huh. This says the code is the month and year the company was founded.
From Brad Hale to IT Security. What good is a passcode reminder if it doesn't tell me what the passcode is? Next time I'm trying to set up the conference room for a board meeting and I get locked out because I can't remember the stupid passcode, fingers will be pointed at you. You want an unhelpful, useless passcode reminder? Fine. At Bay founding date, month and year. There. Happy now, you IT security morons?
According to the legacy, it was October 2023.
It was a good month. We just lived it. That's kind of crazy.
So the company was founded in October.
Oh.
Which is the 10th month of the year.
Good. Good. Glad we know that.
Got it. Door should be unlocked now.
Whew. That was a toughie.
Maybe the data on Leviathan isn't here.
Cost reduction strategy. We're talking about people's lives here. I did as you asked on Omuramba, but this is worse.
Relax, Eileen. I've spoken with risk management. They're confident that the chance of another incident is within acceptable parameters. We're moving ahead with Leviathan.
You know, Dad, shortcuts have a way of catching up with you. Within acceptable parameters or not.
Well, one day in the distant future when you're in charge, you can run things how you want. But until then, how about you let me worry about that?
Guess Eileen and her father didn't always get along. But it seems like covering up Omuramba wasn't her idea.
Doesn't matter. She still had a part in it.
Well, let's keep going. Her office must be higher up.
Alva's been watching DrMick videos on accountability. Love that for her.
Dead end. There's a ladder in that shaft, but it's blocked.
Can't hook onto that. We might be able to pull the rubble out from the other shaft. Let's see where this leads.
You go on ahead. I'll look for a way up that has a lesser chance of falling to my death.
Okay.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Hey, Alva?
Yes?
There's something I don't get. You said Eileen was the one who built Leviathan, not her father, so... what happened?
I'm not sure. The legacy doesn't say. Either that knowledge is lost or forbidden. Or maybe we were wrong about that too.
Right? Like, it's great. She acknowledges that they may be wrong about stuff. And I love that. It's the first step to getting things right. Just recognizing you could be wrong. Oh boy.
Are you doing okay, Aloy?
Oh! Oh boy.
Yeah, it's just a long way up.
Oh my god. Oh, God. This is pretty wild. Oh, my goodness. It's true, if we fall, we have a glider. That's a good point. That would definitely help with the confidence here. You just gotta remember you have it, so that you don't panic and not deploy it when you're falling because you're worried about death.
Now, how to get up higher?
Oh my goodness gracious.
How about you, Alva? Any luck finding a way up?
Not yet.
You just chill right there. I'll get the data points.
Whew. Well, that's done with. Okay, I'm back at the shafts. If I blow up that fire gleam, the elevator might fall and open up a path for Alva. Hey, Alva? Step away from the shaft.
Okay. Whoa! Oh, I can reach the ladder now. Be right up, Aloy.
Looks like there's another floor above. Might be Eileen's office.
Okay, I'll meet you up there. Made it!
Damn, that was fast. Yeah, I do. I love how Aloy warns her as the fire gleam's blowing up. By the way...
There you are.
What's up?
Come on. Let's see what's up here. Another locked door. Need to figure out the passcode.
These artifacts... I think these were Eileen's. It's every diviner's dream to discover even one of the ancestors' artifacts.
And maybe they'll help with the door. This looks like some kind of prototype.
For water purification. Must be the H2 flow.
What?
H2 flow. Their early inventions had strange names.
It's art, I think.
Could it be? Yes, I think this was commissioned in honor of the company's 25th anniversary. Oh, that must be the Larson McCory Award. The legacy says Eileen won it when she was 40 for her work on Leviathan.
Interesting.
Okay.
What did you say this was for again?
The company's 25th anniversary. Looks like it used to be on the last pedestal.
What was this thing again?
The H2 flow.
How old was Eileen when she won this award?
40.
Oh, this is gonna be nuts if this
My
is...
focus might see some...
Okay. 40... A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. 2, 0. 25th anniversary. Oh, I thought it'd be 25. 40820. Third pedestal?
Not quite right.
Yeah. Alright.
You said this was commissioned for something?
The company's 25th anniversary. Looks like it used to be on the last pedestal. That must be the Dragonfly 6. Ape used it in most of their construction projects. The Dragonfly 6 was their most successful model.
Huh.
We'll try 6. This would be I mean, 4, 0, 8, 2, 406.
That's not it.
Ah. All right.
You said Eileen was how old when she won this?
40.
What was the name of this thing?
The H2 flow.
All the numbers you mentioned. I wonder if they make up the passcode.
Yeah, it's worth a try.
What was this for again?
The company's 25th anniversary. Looks like it used to be on the last pedestal.
I mean, I guess like what?
Wonder if my focus...
40 2 25 6.
That didn't do anything.
I thought that would have worked. Did we overlook something?
H2 flow. Right to 25th.
The two artifacts on the ground. Maybe they used to be on opposite
Oh,
pedestals.
6 25.
That did it! You can almost see the whole city from up here.
Corner office. Impressive view. It must have been Eileen's.
Let's see if the data on Leviathan is here.
Well, it's official. Eileen Sasaki, CEO, chair, and worst daughter in the world. Security had to escort Dad to his vert. Guess we'll be speaking through lawyers from now on. Looking down at the world from here. It's hard to see the details. People become risk factors, statistics, far too easily.
Yep, they do.
Ramba was supposed to provide clean water, improve lives. It was easier to pretend there wasn't a problem. Easier to believe the lie was truth. But I don't want to pretend anymore. I will build Leviathan right. No more shortcuts. No more lying just to save face. It won't undo our sins. My sins. But maybe we can still do some good.
She overthrew her father, took over the company, so that Leviathan wouldn't end up killing people.
It sounded like she regretted covering up Omaramba's failure.
She wasn't perfect. Not a paragon, as the Quen believe, but not a monster either. She tried to make up for her mistakes.
Nuance.
And now you know the truth.
As for the data, Leviathan... yes, it's here. Downloading a copy now.
Is something wrong?
I think I'll stay here a while longer. There's a lot more data that I want to look through.
Are you sure you'll be okay on your own?
Down is always easier than up.
That's not true.
Let's speak again when we're back at base.
Okay. I'll see you there.
That's not true. In the climbing
Well,
world,
after
that's
climbing
not
all the way
true.
up?
Down is scarier than up, man. There's plenty of ways you can get up, and then down you can't, because you got to deal with gravity. Are you kidding me? Unless you got a glider.
Why not glide down?
Wait, you're going to what?
Just thinking about it.
Now. I'm gonna glide all the way down to the Quen scouts. They are facing... I'm facing directly where I need to go. So, here we go.
Careful!
See ya!
That must be the tower Jomar mentioned. And it's full of sun wings. That can't be good.
Whee!
Aloy! Did you make it?
Sure did.
Okay. Climb underneath the robot. What up, Sunwing?
If any scouts made it to that tower, I doubt the Sunwings up there missed them. I guess I'm climbing.
Always climbing.
I can't override that machine until I find the right cauldron.
Whoa. Ba-bam. Keep climbing, Aloy. Oh my god. Come on. Come on. There we go.
Dead end.
It ain't no
If I go
dead
outside,
end.
I can find another way up.
There's always another way, Aloy. The Towers of Firefighter Memorial was meant to look like the end of a fire hose. Oh, interesting. You're talking about in real life, right?
Oh, another close one. A Quen scout. But there's only one way to be sure it's Jomar's brother. Better check for the relic. The relic. And my focus picked up data on it. It's not a beacon, it's a tourist map of San Francisco.
Oh.
If the Quen could read this, they wouldn't need to send scouts out blind. I should tell Alva.
Aloy! I'm here.
Alva, I found some data I think Bohai might be interested in seeing. I'm sending it to you now.
I'll pass it along.
Thanks. I better take this relic back with me. Give it back to Jomar. Along with the bad news. By the looks of things, whoever was with Horus must have met a similar fate.
Bummer. Bummer.
Sliding in. The rest of the scouting party. Looks like they were ambushed by machines. Horus must have escaped to the tower. Too bad machines got him there instead.
Indeed. Hey. Hey. You knocking stuff over, huh? What? What?
Hey, you're back.
You knocking stuff over?
You bet.
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Yeah, rub your face on the microphone for everybody. Say hello. Okay. Okay, we see. Yes, we see.
Say the same thing about your breakfast.
Ancestor,
Yeah.
you returned.
Yeah.
Did you?
I'm sorry.
How did he die?
The tower was a sunwing nest. He went in there looking for cover, but he was holding on to that when I found him.
Horus.
I read the data on it. It had a map that can help your people get the lay of the land without risking more scouts. All of us sharing it with Bohai right now. It's a good thing your brother protected it.
I'd trade all the data in the legacy to have my little brother back. But I'm glad that something meaningful came from his death.
Come on.
As promised, you now have access to my weapon stock. If you bring me the right resources, I can make you anything you see there. Actually, why don't you give this a try? One of our best. And if it's of use, you know where to find more.
Thank you. I'm really sorry for your loss.
I know you are. And I'm grateful.
Okay.
If you need anything else,
Alrighty.
let me know.
When we return home,
Armor vendor, you got anything for me now? No? Still no? It's a bummer that I can't get any Quen armor. I would have liked that a lot. All right. Well. We are making solid progress. Big fan. Yes. On hold. So all we got left is Gemini in the pits, which I'm not going to do that. Look at all these data points. Where are we at? 67%. Comfy. Any rumors lately? No. Rain trace rise.
Wonder what brings the Chiefs champion here.
We must all unite to stop Regala.
Neat. Alright. Cool spot. Jack. Buddy. One rebel camp over here that I think is a bit of a pain to get to. We'll knock that out eventually. All right, let's go. Little kitty ASMR. This is my little buddy meows and licks himself in front of the microphone. Yeah, is that what you're doing? You're providing some ASMR for the people? ASMR for the people, Mr. Jack. Number 9. Mr. Number 9. What do you got for me, Aaron?
Hey, something happen?
Just wanted to talk. What's wrong with your shoulder?
Yeah, it hurts a little. Yeah, maybe a lot.
What'd you do?
Well, I tried to arm wrestle with Kotallo.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't such a great idea.
I was just curious to see if that new arm of his was as strong as it looked. Turns out it really is.
Not the best idea, Aaron.
And let me know if you find any sense of Prometheus and Baron Light.
I will.
Right.
Don't worry.
Bye. Go on. Go back to your spot. Go on. Go on.
You wish to discuss something else?
I bet people are curious about that new arm of yours.
None more than our Quen ally, I assure you. She couldn't wait to take it apart and figure out how it works. I gave her the data I used to build the thing, hoping that would satisfy her curiosity instead.
Good luck with that. Anything new going on I should know about?
The Quen has been more insistent than usual, asking about the visions at the Grove. Her pursuit of knowledge is relentless. The 10 would have a hard time fighting her off.
Just think of her like one of your chaplains.
Yes. Only more persistent.
We'll talk more once the mission is over.
Once the mission succeeds.
Nice. Love that reframe, big dog.
Aloy. Aloy! I'm glad you're here. I wanted to give you this for helping me get the data on Leviathan. I didn't really know what to give you, so I asked Zoe what you might like.
Thanks, Alpha. I'll put it to good use.
Thank you for the gift.
Have you looked through the data we recovered on Leviathan?
There is much to sort through still, but I believe we'll be able to get it operational and turn back the floods. And I've given more thought to everything we've uncovered about the ancestors. The Overseers would have us believe they were infallible paragons. But Pharaoh wasn't. Not even close. His greed led to machines that devoured the world. The archive of the Old One's knowledge destroyed, just to erase his mistakes. So, when we learned that Eileen had a hand in covering up hundreds of deaths, I started to think they were all the same. Selfish, egotistical, cruel. But, in the end, it's not that simple. The truth isn't a straight line of ink on a crisp scroll. It's a splatter, smudged, and faded on stained parchment. I wish more Quen could see that, instead of looking the other way.
So, she's got to be careful not to make a generalization about all of the Quen here. It's understandable why she would do it. But there are two, if we oversimplify something that is very complex, there are essentially two camps. There are the Quen that are in positions of power who actively know about the knowledge that is being controlled. And there are the beneficiaries of that controlled pipeline of knowledge, which are the Quen people at large. The people in positions of power, very likely, are either turning a blind eye or controlling the flow of information as a means to maintain power, which is what most people in positions of power do. Then the Quen people are not actively turning a blind eye. Their ignorance to some of this stuff is not because of their own malicious intent, but it's because they simply don't possess the power to facilitate an exposure to the knowledge that she has. The dilemma that Alva is really having to deal with here is being a person who is in a position of power, who also wants to change the system as a whole, and is having to deal with the fact that there are certain hierarchical structures that are holding certain things in place that cut very directly against her value set. It's very hard to be empathic and human and also be at the head of a corporate structure. Those two things often do not align particularly well. So she's got to be careful not to overgeneralize this to the Quen. It's not that everybody's turning a blind eye to this. It's that a specific section of the Quen is turning a blind eye to this. And as a result, there are people that are suffering for it. Chaotic, thank you very much for the 4 months. I appreciate it.
We're twisting the truth to serve their own schemes.
I doubt Bohai would agree with you.
No,
of course not.
Nor the rest of the Board of Overseers. As Eileen said, it's easier to believe the lie is truth, but it's worth fighting for. And this diviner, at least, won't settle for anything less. For that, I thank you, Aloy.
Anything new around here?
Kotallo showed me the schematics for his new arm. I recall reading about robotic limbs within the Legacy, but I never thought I'd see one in action. Technology like that would be treasured back home. Think of what it could do for injured workers or soldiers. But knowing the Imperial family, they would use it for different purposes. Their own.
Replacing body parts as they grow older. Like the Zenith.
Exactly.
Why is it difficult to be empathic and in a position of power? For the very reasons that the Leviathan leader lady said. I once had a very influential person in my professional development say something. Maybe I've shared this on one of the playthroughs. Maybe it was even this playthrough, but I'll share it again. Very influential person to my development whom I respect and admire a lot. Went through basically all the levels of academic structure that there were to go through, and eventually left some of those positions of power to go back down a few levels. And one day we were talking about it, and he said to me that the farther up the power structure he went, the farther he got away from the reason he got into it in the first place. And the reality is that, like, it's a distance thing. The more power you have and the more isolated you are from your constituents, the harder it is to connect with the humanity of who it is you're overseeing. Because you inherently start seeing people as groups. You start seeing them as classes, and that dehumanizes them. It's not your fault that that happens, but that is what happens. Like now all of a sudden it's the Quen. It's not Jim and Margaret and Teddy and whatever. Like it's not, it stops being that because you have to oversee so much bulk. So now it becomes the hierarchical structure, the roles, the utility, all of this stuff. And so the more you dehumanize that stuff, just by nature of your brain's inability to hold the extensive nuance involved with that, the ability to empathize on the ground level is really hard. Which is why I admire people in positions of power who consistently go out in the field to try to meet their constituents and understand them and be curious about them and empathize with them. Because it's hard to hold that in your mind otherwise. I mean, there's also, in order to move up a corporate structure like that, there has to be some desire. I mean, we say all the time, the people you want in positions of power are often the people that don't want the power. And the people who end up being in positions of power are people who want the power, and wanting power suggests that you inherently want to have control and influence over others. So there is a bit of a disconnect in terms of like how that feels for people to exert power and influence over them, which is exactly why people want people who don't want positions of power to be in positions of power, because they are mindful of the way in which power affects people who are subordinate. It's a very complicated deal. But yeah, the farther you go up a corporate structure, the harder it is to empathize. The harder you go up a power structure, the harder it is to empathize. And that's just inherent in the difficulty of our brain's ability to grasp reality, more so than it is an indictment on a specific person. But yeah, you get far away from the ground level. The farther you move up, the more you get promoted. It's just the nature of the system itself. And in its purest form, and I don't be sitting in my comments being like, oh my God, DrMick is pro-communist. But that's inherently what communism in its purest form is about, is trying to neutralize that hierarchy such that everybody's on an equal playing field. Like in its purest form, that's the idea. Is that you don't have hierarchical structure, that every single thing matters in the equivalent kind of way. So like people create certain political systems and beliefs trying to deal with the nature of human hierarchical systems. But we have to acknowledge that human hierarchical systems are often designed in such a way that facilitates survival and are really a way of meeting the deficit that our brain has in its ability to fully conceptualize the world around us. Like it's all very, from a sociological perspective, it's all very fascinating. Dreaded Jehovah, thank you for the 8 months. I appreciate it. So it's a good question.
I need to go get ready.
Right. So should I.
All right. And we'll see you in the next room. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Welcome back. Hello, Aloy.
Hey, Gaia. So, me and Beta, I guess you heard what happened.
Yes. I am continuously impressed by the complexity of human relationships.
Me too.
Despite the unpleasant circumstances that led to your quarrel, I am pleased to see you have both found an agreeable resolution.
Well, 2 heads are better than 1, right?
Yes, I believe so. Are you ready to depart for Cauldron Gemini? Or we can continue our conversation, if you like.
I could talk to you all day, Gaia. All day. I could talk to you.
So, about Beta. I never really saw the difference between us until now. She's been through so much. Completely alone.
You have both endured many hardships. Different in almost every respect, yet equally remarkable. I like to think of you as two miracles, born of Elizabeth Sobek.
3, then. Let's not forget about you, Gaia.
It just feels so warm and toasty when I talk to Gaia. It's just ooh. Wrap me in a fuzzy blanket, why don't you?
How's all of us settling in?
As soon as she arrived, Alva was eager to study the data in the archive. A particular file soon caught her attention. Information about a machine assistant devoted to keeping living spaces neat and orderly.
The Roomba!
I informed her that once I am empowered with the abilities of Hephaestus, I may be able to design such a machine.
I'm sure she'll like that.
Is Gaia Aloy's mother or sister? Neither? You'd have to ask Aloy how she conceptualizes her.
When I set out to find a way to bring you back, I never thought we'd be here, like this. Among friends.
They have all come a long way with their improvised educations. Varl has suggested that one day we might extend this model to more tribal inhabitants, once the biosphere has been stabilized.
Yeah, that's not such a bad idea. As long as you're the one running the lessons. So our plan to capture Hephaestus. Let's go over it again.
As you wish. Thanks to Beta's test, we now know that Hephaestus will not respond to your Alpha clearance.
Which is why I got Ted Farrow's Omega clearance.
Correct. While you were gone, Beta constructed the transport rig and pulse generators. When we get to Gemini, I will need to be installed on one of the facility's cores. The second core is for Hephaestus. Using Omega clearance will allow you to trap it.
And then you'll be able to absorb it.
Not quite. You will need to manually remove Hephaestus's malicious code before the merge.
How long will that take?
4.5
Because
hours.
the work will be split between you and Beta, it will take approximately 4.5 hours.
And during that time, the others will create a distraction for us using the pulse generators, right?
Correct. They will each take position at a cauldron door and fire off their device. The energy surge should mask our activities until the merge is complete.
And then we'll have everything we need to defeat the Zeniths. Sounds like a plan. So I, found Thebes. What do you think Ted would have done if his life extension treatments had worked?
It seems he convinced himself it was his duty to guide future humans. Given the tribal nature of new humans, and his ability to use Omega clearance on the terraforming system, I imagine he would have convinced one or more tribes to worship him as their patriarchal deity.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep, glad that didn't happen.
Yep. It's 1,000% what would have happened. It's exactly what he wanted to have happen. Absolutely.
Aside from Gaia Prime and Thebes, there was one other underground facility that was sealed before the Pharaoh Plague reached it. Elysium. The place where Zero Dawn staff and their families went to live out their lives. Do you know what happened to it?
Elysium was designed to provide life support for 100 years. My data indicates the facility went offline well before then.
Did the Pharaoh Plague find them?
Unknown. My connection to the facility was abruptly severed.
Ooh, I hope we get to go there.
So what will happen to this place while we're at Gemini?
All systems within this facility will continue to operate. As Minerva will no longer be masking this location, the facility will be exposed to detection. Though without my presence, it is unlikely to attract attention.
Let's hope so. Gaia? What was Elizabeth like?
Her presence is interwoven with my memories. The moment I came online, she was there. We exchanged greetings, names, then set to our task. It was the first of many conversations. I enjoyed being in her company, listening to her stories. She was my creator, my guide.
Your friend?
Yes. When I reviewed the data on your focus, I was saddened to learn of her fate. Though I am glad she made it home. I deeply wish she did not have to be alone.
She was okay with that. She gave all of herself. Did all that she could. Thanks, Gaia.
I just want to point something out about how Gaia answered that question that I think is really awesome. And I think adds to why Gaia is such a figure of gravitas. Aloy asked Gaia what Elizabeth was like. And Gaia responded by saying what her experience of Elizabeth was. She didn't say Elizabeth was a driven person who worked hard and cared about people and all these things. Those would be assumptions based on observations. Instead, Gaia said, I felt comfortable with her. I felt seen. She's interwoven in my memories. She talked about her own feelings, her own experience. And there's a real richness to that because you learn a bit about what it was like to be around that person without making assumptions about who that person was or what their intentions were or whatnot. I really appreciate the way she answered that question. I like it a lot. It's like a person says, like, what do you think of Dave? And you're like, well, I feel very comfortable in Dave's presence. I feel respected by Dave. I look forward to meeting with him and talking with him. I find him interesting. Right? There's a real cool way of understanding a person through that person's perspective, rather than making like an objective call on a person based on what you've observed. You're a legend, Dave. That's right. All right, let's go to Gemini.
Okay, people. It's time to head out.
I'll get everyone together.
Woo! We ride! No need to mute here. Oh, good to know. Okay. Thank you. Later, bud. Don't demonetize me. Yeah, 42 is going to be awesome. My friends, thank you so much for taking the time to watch episode 41. 42 is going to be a real doozy, and I cannot wait. Y'all are fabulous. Thank you so much for taking the time to make it through these streams. You're awesome. Your presence is amazing. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for following the links down in the description. Coming and hang out with us in Discord, saying hi to me in Twitch chat, all that fun stuff. It makes me very happy to know that there is so much support around this playthrough and that you care at all about what I have to say. So I don't take that for granted. If you are binging, I will see you at this black screen in just a couple seconds. If you're waiting for the next one to come out, we'll get it out as soon as we can. Please share this playthrough with anybody you think would enjoy it, and watch my other videos in the meantime if you're waiting. You're awesome. You matter. See you in the next one.